tree, isn't it?
Well, anything that goes wrong, anything that breaks, you no longer have to sit down and order it and wait for 2 weeks for it to get here. You just simply drive over to a shop like that and pick it up at the counter.
Just walk up and like a supermarket and order it, right?
That's right. Alrighty, we're ready for our summer feature here at the Hallman Classic, the action track in Terre Haute, Indiana. And here's the starting lineup, a 10-lap race. On the front row will be Johnny Parsons Jr., car 5M, and Mike Sweeney, car 5C. Second row, John Redigan, car 55, and Jerry Russell in 19. In the third row, Keith Campbell in 53 and Tim Bookmiller in 42. In the fourth row, car 7S, Terry Shepard, and 40G, Bobby Adkins. In the fifth row, Bubby Jones in 2C and Danny Milburn in 14. Sixth row has Billy Phelps driving car number 25 and Mike Helm in 28H. Seventh row, car 28, David Smith. 17B, Bobby Kinzer. Row number 8, car 33, Paul Huntington, and 39, Rick Hood. And in the last row, car number 27, Mike Johnson, and 125, Sonny Nutter.
Bob, you know, we've been having a lot of fun today with this USAC versus CRA situation, and it really is fun because I think the CRA drivers have proven beyond the shadow of any doubt that they are certainly as competitive as any sprint car driver, and they've really held their own against USAC. So it's not so much as a battle as it is just fun statistically to keep up with what's going on. And for your information, in the 4 heat races, there were 2 representatives of CRA winning. Ron Schumann, who says, yeah, I guess I am CRA. Bob Mealy, who was definitely CRA. And then 2 USAC heat winners, Larry Rice and Warren Mockler.
And there is Rick Hood, who has a long way to go in this one. He starts in the next to the last row, and you've got to finish up front in order to make it to the Hallman Classic. We have seen several grooves on this racetrack, some running high and some running low, and as a matter of fact, some of them running right in the middle. We asked Ricky Hood earlier today where he likes to run on the track.
I'd rather run the top side myself. If you run the cushion, you can preserve your tires a little bit. Makes me a little more comfortable to run the top, really. And like I said, the tire deal is pretty important. The races this year are a little longer than they were last year. 30, 40 lap distance races now. Tire wear is a problem these days, and if you can run the top and keep your tires cooler, it's better.
Well, the United States Auto Club officials have just announced, speaking of the length of the feature race, it was slated as a 40-lap race earlier today, but Roger McCluskey, the director of competition, has just announced that the Hallman Classic will be a 30-lap event.
Bob, tires really are a big factor, or can be an enormous factor in sprint car racing. There was a race last week at Eldora, which was actually determined by tires. Among all the competitors, the top contenders for the lead, like 90% of them blew tires during the running of the race. Now, the guy who won the race was able to preserve his tires, Rick Hood, and I really think that was really the reason why the margin for victory.
Stand by. We'll be right back for the start being pushed off for the semi-feature event. 10 laps of racing. There is Mike Sweeney in car number 5C, one of the California guys. He had a tough time in his heat race, was running well enough to make it to the feature, but then on the last lap was passed for position and wound up 5th.
Well, he has 7 CRA lifetime wins, and 3 of them have come within the last 60 days. So to say this guy has been hot recently is to understate it. He won the first feature of the year, his first CRA feature at El Central in Southern California. He's 28 years of age and has been driving sprint cars for 10 or 11 years, so he does know his way around. It looks like that this will be his finest season ever.
The first 4 finishers in this semi-feature will go to the Hallman Classic.
John Parsons Jr., who was scheduled to start on the pole, of course, definitely had dyed-in-the-wool USACer, even though his home state and hometown is Los Angeles, California, for lack of a better term. But the second and third starters, Mike Sweeney and John Redigan, without a doubt, represent CRA. So those are the 2 people that CRA will depend on to carry the flag for them in this race.
John Redigan is another one of the CRA drivers from the West Coast. He has 2 career wins within that sanctioning organization, drives car number 55, and will start 3rd inside row 2.
Yeah, he has only won twice in his lifetime in CRA, but he's been very competitive this year. By the way, he's a service manager at a Cadillac agency when he's not driving race cars. He is 36 years of age and has been coming on very quickly of recent in CRA competition.
Johnny Parsons was supposed to run in the 4th heat race, but did not compete, and so will be competing here in the semi. There's number 14, driven by Danny Milburn, another regular USACer. He's from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yeah, and this car that Danny is in, Bob, I think represents, the spirit of sprint car racing, the spirit of certainly USAC sprint car racing. I got to say, more than any other car that has run on the trail in the past 2 decades. This car is owned by Ray and Sissy Smith, and they have maintained and owned and fielded the car for USAC Stars for all of those years, and it always makes all the races. It comes to all the racetracks. You can always tell which car is the Smiths. It's that A.J. Foyt-like type orange color car, and they have really been loyal to sprint car racing in general, to the USAC sprint car division specifically, and it's a tremendous entry to have. And I'll tell you, you don't feel like you're really at a USAC sprint car race until you see Ray and Sissy's car.
And of course, their home base is a little town just inside of Ohio on the western edge, Eaton, Ohio. And as a matter of fact, I used to work at a radio station, Eaton.
And all of us have our crosses to bear. No, just kidding.
18 cars ready to go in the 10-lap semi-feature here at the action track in Terre Haute. The first 4 move to the Holman Classic. Off of turn number 4 now. And if they're lined up properly, they'll get the green flag, and they do. We are underway. Mike Sweeney takes the lead as they head into corner number 1 with a lot of traffic, especially down on the low side. Most everybody working down there. Sweeney first, followed by the number 19 of Jerry Russell, then Johnny Parsons running 3rd at this point.
Oh, Russell got up on 2 wheels and bicycled around turns number 2 and into the backstroke, but held on and stayed on the throttle, and has really come out of lap number 1 in good position, running in runner-up position to Sweeney.
Sweeney and Russell working low. Johnny Parsons is way up high, where Ron Schumann won the 4th heat race.
Parsons was really high. There you see on your screen Rick Hood, who started this race way back in like 12th position, and now he's moved up to 8th position, so that'll be something to watch as Rick Hood tries to make his way to the main event. Boy, he has a lot of timber to cut his way through.
Sure, you got to finish 4th in order to make it to the feature. Anybody that finishes 5th or worse loads it up and takes it home.
Hood's really going, Bob, I'll tell you. He's really moving on the high side. There you see him moving around Bobby Atkins in car number 40, that red car, and Hood right now is running in 6th position.
And looking to go into 5th now, again working that high side out at corner number 4. And look at the dust down there in turn number 4. It's got to present some obstacles for the drivers as far as vision is concerned. Parsons and Rick Hood continue to work high, and there is Bubby Jones, who has spun down in turn number 4.
Well, this will bring out the caution flag probably, and kind of a break really for Rick Hood, although he really seemed to have things going. I don't think he needed the help of a caution flag to move to the front, but this will bunch up the field and put Hood even in a better position. He's doing a tremendous job. Remember, he qualified very poorly because he drew a very low number. I don't think it had anything to do with his performance. It was just the way the day went, and this track dried out considerably from the first qualifying to the 50th qualifier. Hood drew one of those low positions. He performed well in his heat race. He started or rather in the non-qualifiers race, and he had started the back of this one.
While the wrecker goes to the aid of Bubby Jones, who has spun down in turn number 4.
Bob, as is traditional, you go back to the last full scored lap before a yellow flag, and guess what? I said that this probably wouldn't help necessarily Rick Hood's cause because he seemed to have the momentum going. Well, indeed, this has hurt his cause. We had him running about in 5th position before the yellow flag flew, and now because we go back to that last full scored lap before the caution, guess what? He's in 8th position, so he's got to do all that work over again.
We'll see if he can do it. There's Johnny Parsons, who's running in 3rd position. Johnny using the higher groove here. He has 5 career USAC sprint wins. And the action track has not been kind to Johnny on many occasions. You'll remember several years ago,